Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Um, Riker and I had such a great time last week chatting with Nikki and Shelley from Counseling Accessibility Services that we decided to invite Laura to join us today from our Financial Aid and Student Awards Office. So with that, Laura, you can say hi.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all today.
Education can be a major expense. As a student, I used OSAP for all 5 years I was in school. I did 4 years at university and then a year for a graduate certificate at Fanshawe College after. I was lucky to have that opportunity. Riker, did you want to comment on any of that from your end?
Yeah, so I also did 5 years of school, university and college, and I relied on OSAP heavily for that. I was also fortunate enough to get the entrance bursary at Fanshawe, which helped me pay for quite a good deal of my first semester of tuition. So lots of different financial resources that we can all leverage. But for me, OSAP was paramount to my ability to go to university. And I'm sure for lots of people, it will be for them as well. So do you want to get right to the questions now, Devin? Or?
Yeah. One thing we always want to chat with students about when we're on the road is the reality of paying for education and the options that you have to do it. So Laura's the expert. And with that, we always do this, but Laura, can you start out telling us a little bit about yourself and how long you've been at Fanshawe?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Laura Taryn, and I work with the incredible financial aid team in the Office of the Registrar. I have been working in Fanshawe since 2014, as some of our chat participants heard before we got started here today. And I've really been lucky to work in multiple areas of the college. So I've spent a little bit of time in the Office of the Registrar, working with our graduation team. I've worked with our Counseling and Accessibility Office. And I've also had the chance to work at our lovely downtown campus as well. So kind of all over the scope of the college, and have really enjoyed my past almost 6 years working at Fanshawe.
Awesome. And every week, Devin and I talk about things that we love about Fanshawe. And now that we're starting to have some guests on, we like to hear their favorite things about Fanshawe. So for you, as someone who's been here for 6 years now, what are your favorite aspects of the college?
Well, there are many things. One is I really love being a part of a college team that really takes a collaborative approach towards supporting student success. So for me, as someone who works as part of that team, I have the availability of lots of different resources, people that if I don't know the answer myself, there's always someone who's really committed to student success that can help you out. So just the high level of expertise is something that I really appreciate about Fanshawe within our support staff, people within our academic areas. I'm really proud of that. The other thing that I love about working at Fanshawe is engaging with the students themselves. So when I'm out around on campus, I always see students grouping together and talking and collaborating. And because we're a college that really delights in research and innovation, there's just amazing and incredible ideas coming out of different students. And I'm finding that our current reality with working online isn't really putting too much of a halt to that. I'm still hearing great success stories about how people are working together, they're finding different ways to connect, and it's sparking this sense of innovation that's really impressive. So that's something that I just absolutely love about Fanshawe, and I think you'll love it as well. Any new applicants that are considering becoming Fanshawe Falcons.
Absolutely. Just to go off that quick, actually, it was in the news recently that we have some groundbreaking testing for COVID-19 happening in our care labs. So we're also on the front lines for that too. So that's really cool. Yeah. Do you want to give us a brief overview of the services that Financial Aid and Awards provides? I know it sounds like it's self-explanatory, but I'm sure there's lots of information you can give us.
Yeah, for sure. So we are the financial aid office. We work as a team with our financial aid officers. We have people in kind of different capacities of our team working to support you with bursary payments, great people on the phone and email support. So if you have any questions, you're always welcome to be in touch with us. And again, we use those network of kind of our information network to just support you as best we can. We also work in collaboration with our Student Awards Office that facilitates donor-sponsored awards and bursaries. And we are very thankful to have a very generous community in London and among our regional campuses as well. So we have a lot of donor support, community support for bursaries and scholarships. So you can find a really vast array of resources in the financial aid office that range from obviously the practical part of applying for OSAP. Our financial aid officers are really great at helping you understand your OSAP assessment. They're wonderful at looking for opportunities for you where you may have misreported something. So if you're going in and checking in with a financial aid officer, they're going to work with you to try to make sure that you have really taken advantage of any different opportunity that might be available for you based on your situation. Additionally, we provide some financial literacy support. So if you have questions around building a budget or kind of planning for your time at college, that's something we absolutely are happy to help you with through in-person appointments, but also through our financial literacy sessions. We also facilitate all of our broader bursary programs, which include things like the Fanshawe College Student Assistance Bursary, an opportunity that's open for all students regardless of program or level, as long as they're registered full-time. And to specify, full-time is 60% of a course load or 40% for a student with a disability. So that's the big one. I always tell students, write it down, Fanshawe College Student Assistance Bursary, apply every single term you're registered full-time. We also facilitate the work study programs. So we have the part-time work study program, which allows you to work up to 10 hours a week. We also have the full-time that typically runs during the summer. We have put our challenges due to our current pandemic have obviously created, our campus isn't open right now, so we're not running that program this summer. But definitely things are gonna get back to normal before you know it, and those are some opportunities that you can certainly take advantage of. And finally, and very important for new applicants, we have our entrance bursary. So as Riker mentioned at the start of the presentation, our entrance bursary is open to all first-time Fanshawe students. And it's a really great time to apply for that and see if we can help you out with paying for college. So that's some of our services, but we're always happy to have you come in, visit us in the office, and we'll help you in any way we can.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura. Also, the work study program, amazing. We utilize it all the time for student ambassadors that help show off the campus and work for student recruitment events and things along those lines. So for students that are thinking of working or need to work while they're a student at Fanshawe College, a great way to do that is actually at the college itself. And you can oftentimes get jobs that are related to your program area of study, which is pretty cool as well. So definitely a reason to pop up there.
Wonderful experience.
Yeah. So you did mention some bursaries there. And so scholarship, bursary, and grant are kind of terms that are tossed around. And so I was wondering if you could kind of explain a few of the differences between them and how students would access those at Fanshawe College.
Absolutely. Well, I'll start with grants because that's kind of the one that is connected to the OSAP application itself. So when you apply for OSAP, you're assessed for both a grant portion and a loan portion of your total assessment. So a grant portion is an amount of money that's provided to students to support education and living costs, and a grant is non-repayable. So this will be an amount that you won't necessarily need to apply for. It would be assessed within your OSAP application. Now, there may be other opportunities, external grants that may come up that you may want to apply for, but for the most part, a grant is kind of included within your OSAP assessment. I'll often hear students say, oh, I don't want to take any grants because I don't want to accrue any debt. Well, grants are non-repayable, so if you want to apply for OSAP, you can do that and just take that grant portion of the funding, and you won't need to worry about a repayment on that as long as you are successful in your academic term. So next up is our scholarships. Scholarship opportunities are really, a lot of people kind of connect that with academic performance. And yes, oftentimes there is a merit-based piece for scholarships. However, people contribute in so many different ways, and scholarships are awarded for those types of contributions as well. So this can include things like involvement with community clubs, any other type of volunteer service you may be engaging in, and athletics. So there's really a broad range of reasons that a student may apply for scholarships. We do have some that are application based, and if you look at our website, fanshawe.ca/paying for college, there is a section of the website that has that scholarship portion, so you can review all the different opportunities that are available there. But there's also so application based for those ones, but there's also selection based scholarships as well. So these can be selected by program coordinators. Very often our donors are sponsoring these, and then we have really wonderful award ceremonies where you can meet the donors of the scholarships, and it's a really nice time, great time to network as well if you're selected for a selection-based scholarship. And finally is bursaries. Bursaries are typically application-based, and the reason why they require an application is because eligibility is based on financial need. So in order to qualify for financial aid bursary, you do need to have demonstrated financial need. So we would look at any incoming resources that you would have and compare that against a budget that includes the standard costs of living. And if we compare your resources and your expenses and there's a discrepancy there, then that would be what we would consider demonstrated financial need, and you may qualify for a bursary.
All right, awesome. That's super helpful because I know a lot of people often confuse those. Even me, sometimes they get a little mixed up in my head, and I deal with this stuff all the time. And
Yeah.
just as a little side note, something that I've learned too after being a student is we're going to talk a little bit more about this later, but there are tons of external resources to find bursaries, grants, scholarships, things of that nature. I know personally that my credit union had one that was available, and for that one, it was about community service and leadership. So they wanted you to write a small essay, and they would choose a winner basically. So there's lots of stuff external to Fanshawe that you can find as well.
Yeah, I really encourage students to speak with their, if your parents, even if their company might have any opportunities that they would support students as well. But it's funny, we've seen so many things like generous donations from bowling leagues and Girl Guides of Canada and Boy Scouts, and just so many different organizations that you may not think that they would have opportunities. But if you're connected at all with any type of organization, just reach out. And in the spirit, kind of Fanshawe spirit of being bold, it never hurts to ask. There may be pots of money sitting there that you have no idea, but until you actually pursue those opportunities, you'll never know. So you got to take advantage. it's a great time right now because we are at the beginning of the summer, and so that gives you some time to look at those different resources. And it's it's time well spent, because if you think about it, if you spend an hour of time applying for a bursary, it doesn't really take that long. But if you did spend just a little bit of time applying, you may get $1,000. So $1,000 an hour is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we employers, if you have a part-time job at Tim Hortons or McDonald's, they'll often offer scholarships for students / employees as well. When I was a student at Laurier, I literally was sitting there studying, and a friend walked by and asked me what I was doing, and I said, "Oh, just sitting here studying." He said, "Hey, it's the bursary deadline's tomorrow, so let's go fill out a bursary form." I went with him, filled it out, completely forgot that I did it, and about a month later, I got a check in the mail for $1,500.
Yeah.
And so when you're a student, you can oftentimes either lose track of time or get caught up in your schoolwork and all those types of things. So it's important to be conscious of these opportunities that are available to you, and kind of try and take advantage of them, or stay connected in some way, shape, or form, even just to get a reminder that these things are happening, so that the opportunities are becoming available to you, which is nice.
If you have Twitter or Facebook or Instagram as well, the marketing team does a really great job at promoting these opportunities as well. So as these deadlines come up, that's a great place to see the reminders. So it's worth a follow on Twitter if that's something that you use. But again, I just say at the start of every academic year, you just put it in your phone. Like, just go through the website, and any application dates, put it in your phone. It'll send a reminder, and there you go. You might be surprised with $1,000. That'd be pretty good.
For sure, yeah. So going back a bit to OSAP, can you explain a little bit how what OSAP is, how it differs from like a traditional loan, like any kind of notes about OSAP that you think might be helpful?
Yeah, for sure. So as I'm listening to Devin and Riker talk about how they funded their school through OSAP, I was one of the ones who didn't know. And I had this assumption of like, oh, I won't qualify for OSAP, or I don't, it's too complicated, I don't know how to do it. So I funded my education through bank loan, and I paid it off now, but it was a bit of a mission. But I think that, applying for OSAP is your best option, even if you're not going to take, as I mentioned, if you don't want to take the loan portion, you can always just be assessed for that non-repayable grant portion. The application for 2020 and 2021 is currently available, so you can apply for OSAP now. So basically what OSAP is it's a combination of federal and provincial funding that's set aside to support students as they pursue their post-secondary education. So when you apply, there's a really great piece that's now available from OSAP, where they do sort of a questionnaire at the start to make sure that you understand what the loan is, different components of it, and how the loan and grants are assessed. We do have a couple of updates for this year, which is that there have been some great enhancements to the OSAP program that will help students support their education costs for the 2021 academic year. So there's going to be a doubling for the Canada Student Grant for full-time students, which means that funding will be up to $6,000 for that portion of the grant. The part-time students may receive up to $3,600 for the Canada Student Grant. They're also broadening eligibility for financial aid by removing expected contributions. So typically when an OSAP application is assessed, the government would expect a contribution from parents and spouses to support education and living costs. However, considering our current situation, they are waiving that in recognition that a lot of students are struggling to save for school right now. And finally, there's going to be a increase to maximum weekly loan amount. So this is for education living costs. So the previous school year, it was $210 a week, and now it's being increased to $350 a week. So that's really great. Additionally, there's also going to be increased supports for students with permanent disabilities. So that's to support things like equipment costs, any additional services that you might need to accommodate your disability. So really great enhancements coming from the government to support students in a particularly challenging time as you're starting school. But yeah, overall, my recommendation is apply. You won't see an estimate yet because there's still some pieces of the assessment that are up in the air. But towards the end of June, we'll start to get more information, and we'll have a bigger picture of what your OSAP estimate will be.
Yeah, just adding from my own experience as someone who's in the middle of paying back their student loan, which is the part of it that we don't like, but it's a necessary part. It is one of the more flexible loan arrangements you can get. Like the situation that I got with my bank was not nearly as helpful as what I got from OSAP. I'm sure many people are aware that it has been deferred during the pandemic, which was super helpful for me. It's also an incredibly low interest rate for a loan. There's relief assistance programs, so you can have all kinds of deferrals and help with payment. And really, I mean, like I said, it's probably the best loan that you can get as a person entering school who doesn't own property, all of that stuff. So I would highly recommend people take advantage of it. Moving on from OSAP, is there any other websites or databases or places that people can search for scholarships, bursaries, and grants?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one I recommend is scholarshipscanada.ca. So this is a national resource that you can use, and its databases. Again, we talked about at the beginning of the session of the broad range of organizations that may have scholarships, and this is a really great database for that. There's also the College Student Alliance. All of these are I'll mention they're on the website under our fanshawe.ca/paying for college, and can be found within our Money Matters booklet. So don't know if we'd be able to link to that, but maybe potentially.
I can try to find it for sure.
Yeah. But that it's all available on our website. The other thing, and I have been having a deep dive into this kind of with increased funding and the various supports that are being offered by our government. But the Government of Canada website, if you just type in student aid, there's a whole section there that has a number of different resources, information on the CSB, which is the Emergency Student Response Benefit. We also have, it has links to the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada, which is a really wonderful resource with great budgeting tools, tips for managing your finances during a time when your income may not be as regular as it was prior to the current pandemic. And yeah, and just the Fanshawe College website as well. All of our scholarships are listed in a database, and it's quite user-friendly. You fill out a short application with some questions, and what we do is we filter those down for you. We do have a new bursary system that we're going to be launching, so we hope that will be a very user-friendly experience for you and make it as easy as possible for you to gain access to our many awards and scholarships and bursaries that are available.
Excellent. Question for you. With all the services that you offer, do you have any hidden gems? Is there something that you find that students aren't taking enough advantage of that they maybe could be? It's kind of a hidden secret for you guys.
I think that a huge thing that students need to pay attention to is responding to emails if they receive a direct marketed email to them, letting them know that they're eligible to apply for an award. We have many awards typically that are program specific that we're looking for applicants for them. We're kind of trying to find good fits for those. And sometimes we just don't have anybody who's looking to apply for them. So if you receive an email saying, hey, you're eligible to apply for this, please apply. We want to hear from you. So that would be my biggest advice. The other thing that I think is important for students is maintaining their co-curricular record. So oftentimes, students will say, oh yeah, I won't qualify for that award or scholarship because I don't do anything here at the college. You may be surprised because there's lots of things that you may participate in that you just kind of consider it as part of campus life, or things you may do in the community that you don't really think twice about. But if you connect with our FSU office and say, hey, look, I'm looking to keep track of this. If you start early when you first enter your time at Fanshawe, by the time you're in your graduating semester, you'll have this amazing transcript of all the accomplishments that you've made over your time at college. And it's not only good for applying for awards and scholarships, but also when you're looking to apply for jobs. So co-curricular records, my other hot tip.
Yeah, that is super helpful. My co-curricular record at Laurier, it's just extra stuff that you can talk about in interviews, and
for sure,
it really shows you you get involved in community, which is something that employers look for. So I was unable to find the Money Matters booklet in time, unfortunately, but we do have a PDF copy somewhere. What are the best ways for students to engage with your services, and any final comments or tips that you want to share?
Yeah, so obviously we've now moved to remote delivery of our services, but that doesn't mean that it's not still, fully supportive and that we're not here for you. We definitely are. So you can contact for the Office of the Registrar. We're open between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. So we have a couple of different lines for the Office of the Registrar, which you can, if you have any inquiries about paying for fees, or questions about registration, admissions, you can contact the Office of the Registrar at 519-452-4277, or you can email any question you have under the sun to info@fanshawec.ca. We're always happy to hear from you. If we don't know the answer, we'll absolutely redirect to one of our other wonderful service areas to offer you some support. For our financial aid team, you can contact us again between 10 and 6, Monday to Friday, at 519-452-4280. Or you could email us at FAD, standing for our Financial Aid Department, FAD, @fanshawec.ca. If you have any questions about bursaries, you can email bursaries@fanshawec.ca. Or for awards and scholarships assistance, you can email our student awards team at studentawards@fanshawec.ca. Yeah, and we're always happy to help. We have been doing some OSAP assistance by phone appointments. I know for myself, I've been available, just taking some calls if people are having a few questions. We're very happy to help one-on-one if that's, if you like. And yeah, so just give us a call and we're happy to help you.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So unless we have any questions, I don't know if we had anything else to add. That was really comprehensive, Laura. Thanks for joining us. That's why we bring in the experts. You definitely bring in a different take than Riker I would have. So we really, really appreciate you joining us today. Riker, do you have anything else to add?
I think you covered everything spectacularly. So I think we can leave the questions for you unless anybody from our audience has some questions.